The wind howled through the trees like a wounded animal. Cold dust blew across the empty clearing, and the fire crackled low under the iron sky. Jace crouched near the flames, rubbing his hands together. His knuckles were cut, his boots torn, and his lips dry from days without water. He had survived 3 days since the crash. The others were gone, some dead. Some simply vanished into the forest that didn't end. This planet wasn't marked on any chart, wasn't supposed to exist, but now it was his whole world. He turned the meat on the stick slowly. The animal he killed wasn't like anything from Earth. Its skin was thick like bark. Its blood had shimmered when it spilled. But it didn't matter now. Food was food. The stick he used wasn't a branch. It was a spear, old, cracked, covered in blackened lines like tribal markings. He'd found it jammed into a stone near a dry creek bed. It looked ancient but still sharp. He'd figured it would hold meat over the fire better than a regular stick. He didn't know it was watching him. Jay stared at the flames, lost in hunger. He didn't hear the footsteps at first. Silent, slow, measured like a predator waiting for the perfect voice behind him. Calm, cold, and clear. Now your species is on the menu. Jace froze. He didn't turn around. The fire cracked again, throwing light in uneven flashes. Shadows danced around him. His heart pounded in his ears. He stood up slowly, holding the spear out, not like a weapon, but like a tool. "I was just cooking," he said quietly, his voice dry like dust. The figure stepped into the light, tall, alien, skin a deep blue-gray, eyes glowing softly without pupils, hair braided with bones. His chest was bare, but marked with sharp white. Paint in straight lines down to the waist? It didn't blink. "You touched the war spear," it said. "You used it to cook meat as if it were firewood." "I didn't know," Jace replied. "It was lying on the ground." The alien tilted its head. "That ground is a graveyard. That spear belonged to a warrior who killed 10 of your kind." During the red hunt, Jace swallowed hard. He took a step back, unsure if he should run or fight. "Look, I'll give it back." "I didn't mean anything." The alien didn't move. "You can't return what you've claimed." Tightened on the spear. "Then what happens now?" The alien walked closer, slow like a hunter nearing a cornered animal. Its eyes didn't leave Jace's by touching the spear. "You've invoked the old, right? You stand now between being or proving your place." Jace stepped back again. "I don't understand your laws. You don't need to," the alien said. "You've already broken them." Behind the tall figure, 2 more shadows moved. One of them smaller, female maybe. The other hunched and broad, dragging something behind it. Jace's eyes darted toward the trees. He didn't know where to run. There was nowhere to hide. But the alien raised a hand to stop its companions. "Not yet," it said. Jace looked at the spear. He said, "Not yet." "What does that mean?" The alien stepped close enough that Jace could see small cuts across its chest, like ritual scars. "Our law says no outsider can touch a sacred spear without paying blood. But if the spear glows in your hand, you will be marked." Jace stared. "Marked how?" "Marked as prey to be hunted, or warrior to be tested." The female alien stepped forward, quieter than the others. Her face had soft features under the paint, but her eyes were cold. She spoke for the first time. "Sphere has not glowed in hundreds of years. If it does tonight, you will not die right away." Jace looked down at the spear, black, dead. Then faintly lines along the shaft began to pulse, faint gold veins. Spread across its surface, glowing like fire under the skin. Everyone stepped back. The male alien whispered, "Impossible." The female took a slow breath. "The spear has chosen." Jace's mouth went dry. "What does that mean now?" The leader turned toward the jungle. "It means you will hunt. At dawn, you must return with the mark of the beast. If you succeed, we judge you as one of us. If not..." His voice trailed off. The wind blew harder. Jace looked up at the sky. No stars. Only clouds, heavy with silence. He looked back down at the glowing spear in his hands. It felt heavier now, more alive. The female alien leaned close to his ear and whispered, "You should not have touched it. Now your whole kind may pay the price." Jace's fire flickered out behind him. The hunt had already begun. The jungle was louder now. Jace walked deeper into the darkness, each step sinking into thick moss and roots that moved like sleeping snakes. The glowing spear pulsed faintly in his hand, casting a soft golden light that did little against the shadows. Trees stood like giants around him, their branches woven so tightly that moonlight couldn't break through. Somewhere out there, a beast waited. Not just any beast, the one marked by the tribe. The alien called it Katir, which meant the eater of fire in their tongue. No one had hunted it in decades. No one who tried had returned. And now they had sent him. A human, unarmed, untrained, alone. He wasn't even sure what he was hunting. The alien leader had only said, "Follow the signs. If it smells you, before you see it, you're already dead." Jace didn't want to die. Not here. Not like this. Not on some godless alien world just because he touched a cursed weapon. Moved carefully, eyes scanning every branch and vine. The jungle was thick with sounds whispers, bird cries, rustling leaves, but he couldn't tell which ones were natural and which were watching him. Every noise made him grip the spear tighter. Then he found it. A symbol, carved into a tree trunk, glowing faintly with the same golden light as the spear. 3 jagged lines. A hunting trail. Not made for him, but now he was part of it. He followed. The air grew colder. The plants changed. Leaves turned black and thorns poked from every branch. Like the jungle wanted him gone. Blood dripped from a scratch on his cheek, but he didn't stop. He couldn't. The trail led him to a broken rock formation, half cave, half collapsed ruins. Alien bones were scattered across the stone floor, old and dry, picked clean long ago. A pile of ash sat in the center, untouched by wind. That's when he heard it breathing, slow, heavy, deep. Not from ahead, but above. Jace rolled to the side, just as something crashed down from the vines above, slamming the ground where he stood a second ago. The force shook the roots. Shape rose from the dust. Not huge, not armored, but fast, covered in dark fur, muscular limbs, its glowing red eyes, and something around its neck metal. Something Jace recognized. He blinked. A human dog tag, scratched. Rusted, but still readable. It had a name, L.T. Keller. UEC command. Keller. He was part of Jace's crew. Vanished on day 2. They thought he was eaten, but this thing wore his tag. The beast crouched low, sniffing the air. Jace didn't know if it had killed Keller, or if Keller had become this. Either way, it wasn't just an animal. It was something else. Something born from a planet that never forgot blood. Jace stepped back, raising the spear. "I don't want to hurt you," he whispered, not sure why. The creature didn't answer. It just stared. Then it lunged. Jack dodged left, rolling behind a thick tree trunk. The beast's claws scraped the bark, slicing it clean. It was strong. Too strong. The spear pulsed in his hand as if calling for action, not to kill but to choose. He spun and swung the spear in a wide arc, just to push the beast back. It worked. For now, the beast circled. Jace remembered the alien girl's words, "If it smells you before you see it, you're already dead." He had seen it first. That had to mean something. He knelt quickly and drew the glowing symbol in the dirt. 3 jagged lines, just like the tree. Then he cut his palm with the edge of the spear and pressed it against the mark. Blood hit the dirt. The jungle answered. A low hum echoed through the ground. Vines shifted. The beast froze. Then it howled. Not in pain, but in recognition. It stepped back, looked at Jace, then at the symbol. The spear had marked him, not just as a hunter, but as part of the ritual. The beast didn't run. It bowed. Jace stared in shock, his blood on the mark. It completed something, a pact maybe, or an old command long forgotten. The spear stopped glowing. The jungle fell silent, and the beast turned and walked away. Not defeated, but spared. Jace sat on the ground, heart racing, didn't know what just happened. But something told him this hunt wasn't about survival. It was about being seen, A voice whispered behind him, soft and female. You passed the trial, but you don't understand what you've awakened. He turned sharply. The alien girl stood behind him, hair tied back, a blade across her chest, eyes unreadable. She stepped forward, not smiling. You were never meant to survive, she said. They thought you'd die by morning. Then why did you follow me? Jace asked. Because I've seen the murals. I know the stories. And now I've seen the glow in your hands. Jace stared at her, confused. What stories? She stepped closer and touched the spear. It lit again just for a moment, and she whispered, you weren't the first. And if you're not careful, you'll be the last. The morning didn't come with light. It came with fog. Thick gray mist blanketed the jungle. Curling around every branch, every stone, every footstep, Jace moved through it slowly, the cold clinging to his skin like wet cloth, his hand gripped. The spear tighter now. It didn't glow anymore, but it felt heavier, as if it knew what waited ahead. The alien girl, it's still unnamed, walked just behind him. She hadn't spoken again since her warning in the clearing. She didn't guide him or offer help. She only followed. Her eyes watched everything, not out of fear, but like someone counting down to something they couldn't stop. Jace spoke first. You said I wasn't the first. What did you mean? She answered, without looking at him. There was a human long ago. Came from the sky like you. Touched the same spear. Survived the same trial. He frowned. What happened to him? Finally turned. He became the one thing our people still whisper about. Jace waited for her to continue. She didn't. Instead, she pointed ahead. The next sign is near, she said. But it won't be carved on trees. Jace stepped forward carefully. His boots touched something strange beneath the fog. Stone flat. Black. Smooth like glass. The fog lifted slightly. Just enough to reveal a wide circle of stone hidden beneath layers of moss and age. In the center, a pedestal rose from the earth, carved into its symbols. Not alien. Human. Letters. English. He brushed the dirt away and read the words aloud. Project Echelon UEC Deep Field Exploration Unit 09. Jace blinked. That was Earth's military. Government grade that this was never just a crash site. This place had been visited before, maybe colonized, then buried. Your people came here long before you were born, the alien girl said. But they did not leave. They became something else. Jace looked at her. Became what? She didn't answer instead. A sound broke through the silence. It wasn't loud. It was the absence of sound. Every bird call, every insect chirp, every rustle of leaves, gone. The jungle had fallen into unnatural silence. Jace raised his spear slowly. The girl whispered, It's here. From the edge of the fog, something moved. No roar, no growl, no breathing. Just shaped low to the ground, long limbs, skin like polished stone. It glided instead of walked. It left no prints. And when it looked up, its face was blank. No eyes, just a smooth surface, shaped like a mask, stretched too tight. Jace's breath caught in his throat. What is it? He asked. She answered without looking away. It's the beast with no sound. It is the final test. He whispered. Test for what? To see if you're the weapon or the warning. The creature stepped into the open circle. Jace's grip tightened. The beast didn't charge. It watched Tor, felt something. Then it did something strange. It bowed its head, the spear in. Jace's hand began to vibrate, not glow, not pulse. Vibrate, jack to japped, to one knee, without thinking. Pressing the base of the spear into the stone ring, the pedestal in the center began to light up. A circle of red lights blinked around it, machines waking after centuries. The beast moved closer. Still no sound. Still no threat. It lowered itself fully, chest to the stone, head turned down. Submissive Jack looked at the girl. Is it surrendering? No, she said softly. It's remembering. Jace looked back. The pedestal rose higher. A box opened. On its side, and inside it was a human helmet. Old, rusted, blood-stained, carved. Into it was a name, Halvorsand, That name it matched the files Jace had seen in training. A deep field commander who went missing 100 years ago. They never found him. He was here, and now his mark had triggered something locked away for generations. The beast stood again, but this time it didn't look like a monster. Its back straightened. Its arms tightened. Its form shifted. It looked almost human, not in body, but in presence. It reached toward the helmet. Jace didn't stop it. The creature placed a hand on the metal, and for the first time spoke, a voice like crushed leaves and broken stone. "You carry the key. The war never ended." Geese stepped back. "What war?" The beast looked straight at him. "You're not the hunter. You're the activation." And then it knelt again, as if waiting for an order. The alien girl's voice trembled now. "You weren't brought here by accident. You were summoned." Jace's thoughts raced. The crash, the relic spear, the glowing marks, the mural of a human warrior in the alien cave. It wasn't a coincidence. It was a pattern. And he had just walked straight into its center. He looked at the beast, still kneeling, still silent, then at the girl, watching him like he was something different than he was minutes ago. The spear, the lights, the silence, everything pointed to one conclusion. He wasn't just a survivor. He was a trigger. And whatever had been asleep beneath this jungle had just started to wake up. Asterisk. The sky above the jungle turned orange, not from sunrise, from fire. A wall of smoke rolled through the trees. It rose like a wave, black and thick, swallowing the mist and choking the air. Jace coughed and pulled the collar of his jacket over his mouth. The spear in his hand grew warm not from magic, but from heat. The jungle was burning. And someone had set it on purpose. The alien girl grabbed his arm, pulling him toward a narrow path between the rocks. "We have to move," she said. Jace glanced back. The soundless beast was still kneeling by the pedestal, eyes closed, arms resting beside the human helmet. It didn't move. Didn't react to the fire. "Why isn't it running?" he asked. "It's waiting," the girl replied, "because it's part of the signal now." They rushed down the path, smoke licking at their backs. Jace's eyes stung, and every breath felt like swallowing knives. Branches cracked above, and flames danced just behind them. When they finally reached a break in the trees, Jace stopped. He looked out across a wide ravine and froze. A full camp of alien warriors stood ahead, dozens of them, painted in war colors, weapons drawn, waiting like a pack of wolves. And at the center, the tribe leader, the tall blue-skinned male who had first spoken the words, "Now your species is on the menu." He raised a hand. The fire behind Jace stopped, as if held back by command. Smoke coiled and stilled in the air. Then the leader spoke. "You were not supposed to return alive." The girl stepped forward. He completed the trial. The beast submitted. The relic lit. The spear chose him. The leader's expression didn't change. That was never the point. Jace narrowed his eyes. Then what was? The leader walked forward slowly, the crowd partying for him. "You were bait. The moment you touched the spear, the machines beneath this planet began to wake. They needed human blood to activate. They needed someone foolish enough to bleed on sacred ground." Jace's chest tightened. "You used me, yes," the leader said. "And it worked?" The girl turned sharply. "That's not what the old codes say. The warrior must be tested, not tricked." The leader ignored her. "Look behind you." "Human." Jace turned. The pedestal had risen higher now, its surface glowing. The beast was gone, but in its place a new figure stood, tall, armored. Still it looked like a human, but not exactly. Its body was metal, shaped like ancient earth. Exosuits. But its face was smooth silver. Its chest glowed faint blue. On its shoulder, the same three-jagged line symbol from the jungle was etched in steel. It wasn't alive. It was awakening. Jack took a step back. "What is that?" the girl answered. "A construct, a war forged from the first contact age." Leader's voice rang out. "When humans first came here, they brought weapons the stars had never seen. Machines with minds. Soldiers without fear. That one was buried when the humans fled. But your blood woke it. The construct turned toward Jace. Its eyes lit gold, then red, then blue. It scanned him, then stepped forward. It knelt before him. The alien crowd gasped. Jack stood frozen. The girl whispered, "You're not just bait anymore. You're its command source." The leader's face darkened. That was not the plan. He drew a curved blade. Dozens of aliens followed, but the girl stepped between Jace and the weapons. "You said he was food. Now he stands with a god," the leader growled. "Then let him fight as one." He raised his hand. The warriors rushed forward. Jace gripped the spear. But before he could lift it, the construct raised its arm. A wave of energy burst from its chest, silent, bright, pure force. The ground split. The warriors were thrown back like paper in wind. Silence returned. The leader stood shaking. One side of his face burned, his arm dislocated. Still, he stared at Jace, not in hate and fear. "You carry their voice," he said quietly. "The old ones, the ones who made us kneel." But Jace didn't understand. The girl did. "They weren't gods," she said. "They were your ancestors." She looked at Jace with something close to awe. "You weren't summoned here by accident. You were brought home." Jace stared at the smoking ground, the kneeling machine, the stunned crowd, and for the first time, asked the question he had avoided since the crash. "What was this planet before we found it?" The girl's voice was calm now. "Yours." The smoke had cleared, but the fear stayed in the air. Jace stood in the center of the burned clearing, surrounded by warriors who no longer dared to attack. The construct stood behind him like a silent monument, armor still glowing from the energy it released moments ago. Its eyes were fixed forward, unmoving, waiting for a signal that hadn't come. No one spoke. Not the tribe leader, his mouth was bloodied, his blade shattered. Not the warriors, many were still on their knees, stunned from the blast. Not even the alien girl, her gaze locked on Jace like she was trying to read a language she didn't yet know. Jace didn't move. The spear in his hand no longer pulsed, but it felt different, warmer, heavier, more alive. Finally, the leader broke the silence. "You came here with fire in your hand," he said. "You hunted where you were not invited. You woke the sleeping relic of your kind." He paused. "And now you demand a place among us?" Jace didn't reply. He didn't need to. The construct stepped forward. It didn't make a sound, but it knelt again, and this time it placed the tip of its metal fingers into the soil. The ground beneath it cracked and split open, revealing something hidden below, long silver roots, tubes, and buried machines. The planet wasn't just alive, it was wired. The girl gasped. "This world remembers the ones who shaped it." Jace looked around, realizing what this place truly was. Not a wilderness, not a forgotten world. It was a battlefield. It's built by his ancestors. A vault. A prison. A secret, and now he was the only human who could open it again. The leader stepped forward slowly, arms at his sides. "If you wish to earn your place, there is still one test." Jace raised the spear. "You tried to kill me already. This isn't for us," the leader said. "It's for the old laws." From behind the ranks of warriors, two figures were pushed forward. They stumbled, chained at the wrists. One was large, covered in scars. The other smaller, younger, with fresh wounds and fear in her eyes. The leader pointed at them. They failed their trials. By tradition, they are to be sacrificed at the feast of flesh. He looked at Jace. "But you, spearbearer, now hold the right of judgment." Jace's stomach twisted. "You want me to decide if they live or die?" The girl stepped beside him. "It's not a choice. It's a ritual. Refuse on, they will question your strength. Accept on, they will see you as law." The crowd watched silently. Jace stepped forward. The two prisoners now kneeling before him. They didn't beg. They didn't speak. But their eyes pleaded. He looked down at the spear and back at them. Then he did something no one expected. He dropped the spear to the ground and stepped between the prisoners and the leader. "No one dies for tradition," he said. "Not today." But the leader narrowed his eyes. "You challenge the feast." Replace it, Jace said, with something older than your rituals. Something my kind brought before war and blood. He raised his hand toward the construct. It responded from its chest. A beam of white light fired into the sky. It wasn't a weapon. It was a signal. A code. Something old and buried. Something waiting to be heard. Above them, the clouds broke. A ripple of sound echoed across the jungle like thunder with no storm. Trees bent. Stones shook. The ground rumbled. The air changed, and then silence. Not dead silence. Hopeful silence. The girl whispered, "You just summoned something." Jace looked at her. What did I call? She didn't know. No one did, but something out there had heard him, and it was coming. The leader turned to his people. The law has been broken. No, the girl said firmly. The law has been rewritten. She pointed to the spear, still lying in the dirt. It was glowing again. Only this time it glowed for everyone to see, not just the construct. It pulsed with the memory of Earth. The leader lowered his head, and the warriors followed. They weren't surrendering to Jace. They were surrendering to what he represented, the return of something long gone, the rise of something long feared. And as the wind picked up and the jungle began to move like a beast shaking off sleep, the girl whispered, to Jace again, "You didn't just survive the trial, you ended it." Asterisk, the stars had returned. For the first time since Jace crashed onto this forgotten world, the clouds above cleared. The night sky stretched wide and cold, filled with constellations he couldn't name. But one thing was clear, the signal he sent from the construct had traveled far. It had woken something beyond this planet now. Every heartbeat felt like thunder in his chest. Jace stood at the edge of the tribe's inner chamber, deep beneath the surface. Carved stone surrounded him, old and cracked, yet humming with energy. The walls glowed with blue lines, Lalian and human at the same time. Symbols merged together in ways that defied logic, like two histories stitched into one. He wasn't alone. The alien girl stood beside him, her voice quiet. This place was sealed long before my birth. No warrior was allowed to enter it, not even our elders. Jace stepped closer to the largest wall, where an ancient mural stretched floor to ceiling. His fingers brushed the surface. It was cold, solid, but not dead. The mural showed a scene, a battle, humans and aliens fighting together. Not as enemies, but as one army. In the center stood a human man, wearing armor like the construct, his hands a glowing spear. Jace stared. The face looked like his not exactly, but close enough that his breath caught. He turned to the girl. "Is this real?" She nodded slowly. "That warrior came from Earth centuries ago. He led the last bond between your kind and mine." "Happened to him?" Jace asked. "He disappeared. Some say he died in battle. Others say he left behind a message, waiting for someone of his blood to return." Jace's hand drifted to the spear on his back. It felt heavier than ever, like it knew the truth before he did. She touched the wall. Her fingers glowed where they met the stone. A section of the mural slid open, revealing a staircase curling downward into darkness. Without a word, she began to descend. Jace followed. The air grew colder with each step, and deeper below, the silence changed, not empty, alive, like something breathing. At the bottom, they reached a vault. Metal doors sealed shut, covered in earth markings, warning signs, serial numbers, faded English words. Restricted, Echelon Core Vault. Jace stepped forward. As his hand reached for the door, it scanned him. A red light blinked, then green. The lock released. The door opened with a low, trembling groan. Inside, the past waited. Rows of pods lined the walls.
Out.
Most were dark, dead, but a few still glowed. Jace walked toward one. Inside floated a woman, pale skin, black hair. Wearing the same armor as the man from the mural, her chest barely moved. But she was alive. A monitor blinked beside her pod. DNA. Match. 47% human. Jace turned, stunned. She's not fully human. The alien girl stepped beside him. No, and neither are you. He stared at her. What are you saying? She looked into his eyes, steady and calm. Your blood carries more than Earth's code. It carries the signature of this world. Mixed, shared. Long ago. Jace took a step back. You mean my ancestors? Did not just come here, she said. They stayed. Some never left. Some became part of us. He looked again at the woman in the pod, and this. She may be the key to everything, the girl said. And she may also be the warning. Before Jace could speak, a distant rumble shook the vault. Lights above flickered. A sound echoed long, hollow, metallic. The construct had moved. Jace turned to the girl. That sound. It means something's coming, she said. Something big enough to make the old machines nervous. Jace looked back at the pods, then at the ancient walls, then at his own hands. His blood had opened the vault. His presence had woken the past, and now something was moving toward them. Pulled by the signal he sent, he wasn't just part of this planet. Anymore, he was part of its history, its future, its defense, but maybe also its final mistake. The girl turned to him again. Your people left something behind, she said. And now the stars have noticed. What happens when they arrive? He asked. She looked toward the surface, where the rumble was growing louder. Then the galaxy finds out if your bloodline still remembers how to fight. Above the jungle, the sky cracked open, not with lightning, with ships black against the stars. Their shapes moved in silence. No signal, no broadcast, no warning. They came like ghosts from forgotten wars, closing in on the planet from every direction. Their hulls bore no flags, just scars. Jace stood on the high ridge with the alien girl beside him. The vault far below, the jungle burning softly in patches behind them. The construct stood like a statue at his back, its eyes glowing a steady blue. They responded fast, Jace said. They were already watching, she replied. Far ahead, the largest ship broke from the clouds, casting a shadow so wide it swallowed the entire valley below. The girl's voice was steady. That ship is not from my people. It's not from mine either, Jace said. The construct stepped forward. His chest opened, revealing a core pulsing with light. Lines of code streamed across its surface in Old Earth script. Defense protocol. Primed identity verified. Human command Sigma engage only on direct order. Jace stared at the message, then at the sky. He was no commander, no general. But the machine didn't care. He responded to his blood, his voice, his choice. The girl turned to him. You decide what happens next. Jace gripped the spear. Its glow now, steady, fierce. Then the voice came crackling. Through the construct's system, rough, cold, non-human, human detected. Relinquish the spear and surrender the construct. Or be erased. Jace didn't flinch. He pressed his hand to the construct's shoulder. Who are they? The machine answered with one word. Harvesters. Jace looked up again. The ships were descending now, their weapons powered, glowing red. No intention to negotiate. No interest in peace. They think this world is still weak, Jace said. The girl stepped beside him, her blade unsheathed. Then show them it's not. Jace raised the spear high. The construct lit up. Its arms shifted. Plates along its back opened. Drones lifted from its shoulders like wings of steel and light. Across the jungle, buried machines activated. Towers rose from the ground. Ancient weapons turned toward the sky. From the vault below, more constructs awakened. Old Earth units. Long asleep, their cores blinked one by one. One active, 004 active, 009 active. Ethi. Valley became an army. Jace took one step forward, standing in front of all of them. He spoke clearly. No fear in his voice. You made a mistake coming here. The harvesters didn't reply. They fired. Beams of red light tore down toward the jungle. Explosions shook the valley. Fire rose. Trees fell. The ground split. But not a single beam touched Jace. The constructs moved faster than sound. Energy shields flared to life. Missiles fired back. and the sky burned. War had returned. But it wasn't the war the harvesters expected. This wasn't a dead world anymore. It was waking up. And at its center stood a human with forgotten blood, holding a relic that once led armies. The alien girl fought beside him, blade flashing eyes, glowing voice sharp as fire. The leader of the tribe, once proud and silent, now stood with his warriors at the cliff's edge, chanting the ancient name the spear once carried, Akatar. The one who turns prey into predator? Jace didn't know how the battle would end. He didn't know what the harvesters truly wanted, but he knew one thing. They came expecting to eat, to conquer, to take. But Earth's blood had mixed with this soil. Earth's weapons had slept in its dirt, and Earth's rage had found a voice again. He stood tall, fire reflecting in his eyes. The menu has changed.